Nagi just got locked off. At the end of the Neo-Egoist League, Ego announced the top 23 players who will be a part of Japan's U20 squad, and surprisingly, Nagi is not a part of those players. My pal Igarashi got eliminated as well, but that guy definitely deserved it. I still don't understand how he made it this far. Anyway, the character that surprised everyone the most was Nagi. Nagi Seishiro is perhaps one of the most iconic characters in Blue Lock, recognized as a prodigy with insane ball control and skills that have stunned the world time and time again. Nagi is a monster. However, during the Neo-Egoist League, we witnessed Nagi's insane downfall. He went from one of the top players in Blue Lock to a wimp who started crying because he got eliminated and his bestie didn't. Bro got absolutely smothered by Bachira, who ruined his dream of playing alongside his bestie Reo. In the final match against Barca, Manshine City were 2-1 down when Nagi and Reo decided to lock in and score a goal. He wanted to become a version of himself that Reo desired. He tried getting into positions where Reo would want to pass to him and even managed to get past a few defenders. However, at that point, he faltered and started wondering whether he should pass or shoot himself. This uncertainty led to Lavenho stealing the ball from him. He got his butt saved by Chris Prince, who passed the ball to Reo, who ended up copying Otoya and Isagi to score a goal for himself. Now, this entire sequence separates Nagi from others. Nagi's primary motivation was to assist Reo Mikage rather than assert his own presence on the field. This dependence indicates a lack of personal ambition, which is essential in Blue Lock's philosophy that emphasizes individual ego and the desire to be the best. Following all this, Nagi asks Reo not to pass to him as he wants to stop relying on him and score a goal by himself. He knows that he cannot make his place into the U20 if he keeps relying on Reo. With this, he intercepts a pass from Bachira and initiates an attack himself, which backfired. Following a couple of passes between the three players, Agi set Nagi in front of the goal with a volley opportunity. However, instead of shooting for the goal the first time, Nagi initiated his fake volley shot. While he got past one FC Barca defender, Otoya and other defenders had set up countermeasures for Nagi's 5-shot revolver fake volley. Nagi wanted to shoot for the goal, but was too afraid to lose possession. In the heat of the moment, Nagi again relied on Reo when he arrived to support him. Unfortunately, the pass never got through and was intercepted by Bachira. Bachira instantly initiated this attack and set himself up for a goal, scoring FC Barca's winner. Nagi's downfall in this match was largely due to his predictability, both in terms of his gameplay and mindset. When he received a volley opportunity from Agi in front of the goal, instead of taking the shot, he chose to use his signature 5-shot revolver fake volley. While this move had dazzled in the past, it had become too familiar. Defenders like Otoya had already studied it and prepared specific countermeasures. This made Nagi easy to read and shut down, exposing the fact that he hadn't evolved or added unpredictability to his game. More importantly, Nagi hesitated. Despite being in a great position to take the shot himself, he feared losing possession and ultimately relied on Reo, waiting for him to arrive. That decision revealed his lack of killer instinct, the very ego and selfishness that Blue Lock expects from its top strikers. Rather than betting on his own talent, he defaulted to teamwork, which in this context came off not as strategic but as a sign of uncertainty and dependency. This wasn't just a physical mistake, but a mental one. Nagi had a clear path to evolve and prove himself as an individual striker, but he regressed into his comfort zone, repeating old moves and leaning on Reo to carry the pressure. That moment of hesitation and predictability cost his team dearly. Bachira intercepted the pass that was meant for Reo, countered swiftly, and scored the winning goal for FC Barca. In contrast, Bachira demonstrated adaptability, decisiveness, and creativity, the very traits Nagi failed to show. In a league where evolution and ego define your worth, Nagi's inability to break his own mold ultimately led to his elimination. Isagi cannot believe that Nagi got locked off and questions Ego about it, who simply explains that while Nagi had some good moments, the disparity between his good and trash plays was too large. At this point, Reo also decides to stand up for Spooky and announces that Nagi is a genius, blah blah blah, and that the world acknowledges his abilities. He further emphasizes that it doesn't make sense for a player like him to disappear like this. That's when Ego explains that Nagi's talent had withered away. According to him, talent wasn't the power to believe in your abilities, but to prove them. During such pursuits, people often end up surpassing their talents and come under the impression that a fluke moment was their real power. Something similar happened with Nagi as well when he scored that 5-feint volley against Bastion München. people created the illusion that it wasn't the extent of Nagi's abilities. In short, that goal destroyed Nagi's chances of qualifying ahead. After scoring that goal, Nagi believed that he had accomplished his dream of defeating Isagi, and he no longer possessed the drive to further hone his talent. And Ryo played a huge part in his downfall. Even if Nagi prevailed some of his drive, he should have tried to overcome his shortcomings by himself. But instead, he decided to rely on Ryo, who kept watering his talent, hoping that it will come back miraculously without even trying. Being with him reduced his ability to think beyond the box, and it limited his capabilities. If you think about it, Nagi and Isagi are quite similar. Both of them got eliminated for similar reasons. They didn't play with enough ego when it mattered most. At the beginning of Blue Lock, Isagi got eliminated because he hesitated. He had the chance to score and prove himself, but passed the ball instead. That moment showed he didn't fully believe in himself yet. He relied on teamwork too much and didn't have the mindset of, I'll be the one to score. That's why he was cut. Nagi made the same mistake later in the Neo-Egoist League. He was right in front of the goal, had a perfect chance to score, but hesitated. Instead of shooting, he used the same trick move he always does, which the defenders were already ready for. Then, when he panicked, he passed to Ryo instead of finishing the play himself. That pass got intercepted and his team lost. Both of them failed because they weren't bold enough. They doubted themselves and leaned on others instead of taking control. But Nagi might grow even more than Isagi after this. Isagi had to work hard to build his skills from scratch. Nagi already has crazy talent, amazing ball control, instincts, and creativity. The problem is, he never really cared that much. He was just playing for fun with Ryo. He just wanted to stay with his best friend, and that was his entire motivation. While my boy Isagi is talking about winning the World Cup and challenging players like Noah and Julian Loki, Nagi is busy playing house with Ryo. Another thing is that Isagi is starting to lose his humanity, using people as tools and objects, while Nagi is gaining his, finally showing his emotions. Now that Nagi has failed and seen Ryo succeed without him, it could wake him up. This might be the first time he truly feels frustrated and wants to improve for himself. If that happens, and he starts playing with real hunger and ego, he could become even stronger than before, maybe even catch up to or pass Isagi at one point. So, while they were both eliminated for the same reason, Nagi has a huge chance to grow now that he's finally been shaken out of his comfort zone. Well, we can say that Nagi will have a better development, but how would that exactly happen? Ego Jinpachi has always tried painting the picture that the Blue Lock project was a high-stack training program where defeat means death. However, we have continuously witnessed that this is not the case. We have already witnessed Kunigami's return through the wildcard, but I doubt Ego would use the wildcard again because it takes a long time and the project's goal was entirely different. Besides all this, we saw that the Japan U20 players were supposed to get eliminated when Blue Lock defeated them, but Oliver Aiku, Sendo, and the remaining Japan U20 team ended up joining the Neo-Egoist League alongside the Blue Lock players. So, considering that significant players who were seemingly ejected from the series have noticeably returned, there's a chance that the manga might reveal such a development through which Nagi can join Isagi, Ryo, and others as part of the Japan's U20 team. One possible theory is that Ego Jinpachi might pick a few extra players other than the top 23 to encapsulate the Japan U20 team. This is because, while national teams are only allowed to have 23 players for a match day, they can call up 26 players as a failsafe in case of injuries or illnesses. In such a case, a national team is allowed to switch players even during the tournament. Could this mean that Chigiri is getting injured in this coming arc? Moreover, fans should remember that while Ego Jinpachi stated that only the top 23 players would make up Japan's U20 team, Saitoshi was never part of the Neo-Egoist League. As any fan would know, not calling up Sai for the U20 World Cup squad would be a foolish decision by Ego Jinpachi. So, despite what he said, there's a likely chance that Ego Jinpachi could still make some last-minute changes to the squad before the World Cup begins. Thus, Nagi being locked off could effectively be a development meant to help him become an even greater egoist.